Hey, YouTube, how's it going? Today I'm coming back to you with a new video, and today we are talking about checkouts. Checkouts are extremely important, as you know, as it's the way that you get paid for an online transaction. And there are a lot of people who are getting it right, but unfortunately, there are more people out there in the world that are getting it wrong. And my point is, if you can improve your checkout, you can convert more people into paying customers. So let's take a look at what we can do to improve that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Shopify checkout and what I think about it. Why do I think it's a good start for what I'm talking about? One of the most annoying things with checkouts, it's the fact that they're not responsive to mobile design, right? 50% of online shopping is now done on mobile. So if you don't have a mobile friendly checkout experience, then you're gonna lose on a lot of customers who are just not gonna want to finish the purchase, right? The second most annoying thing that happens when you're buying something from a website that isn't Amazon. So like on this example here, this is a better Shopify checkout. It's just like a demo of Shopify, or rather, I guess the better Shopify checkout plugin is that you don't have a guest checkout, right? So that's the most annoying thing. Like not having a guest checkout means that not only you have to go and sign up and go through like all kind of stuff before to getting to this page, you might have to provide some kind of login. You might have to provide an address, even prior to kind of like seeing what's in your checkout cart, right? So not having a guest checkout causes about 40% of customer to drop. So always consider when you're creating your checkout, are you asking the right amount of information, or are you asking people to create a whole account prior to checking out and purchasing the thing that they want? If you think about it, 40% is huge. That's right, about 4 out of 10 people that don't see a way to basically guess checkout and will just drop off. I mean, it's cool to have recurring customers, but sometimes someone just wants to purchase something and never come back to your website. Think of it like hit and run, right? Which is someone hits your car and then doesn't stop to exchange information. That stuff happens all the time, and that's not good. But in the world of shopping, hit and runs are very useful because, it just means that people want to buy something and you are there to provide it to them. It's not, the perfect experience for someone who's hoping to retain a customer base. But it's definitely something that you need to consider. I don't want to select a password, and I definitely don't want to think about the kind of emails that you're going to be sending me now that I've like signed up to your website when I do some kind of hit and run, or guest checkout. Another alternative to make guest checkouts like a cool thing is to create some kind of SSO on your website. An SSO, it's basically you have a button somewhere where you can just press it and it will like automatically fill in some details such as like your email, etc., because it's already stored with your SSO, the single sign-on. So that could be Google, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Talking about details now, because I mentioned autofilling details, I hate it when I have to provide extra information. So if you look at this example here, I have one field for email, then I have a field here for like first name and last name, where the first name is even optional. So they say, yeah, you don't have to give me that. You can just give me your last name. And then you just give address with company information if needed, and then city, country, etc. And what I really like is the optionality here to provide a phone number, which could be then used to like do SMS marketing, but that's a whole different video. But the good thing is asking the minimum amount of detail is super useful, because with this kind of setup that you can see on my screen here, you have an email to contact you in case something goes wrong and to send you the invoice, the last name, the address, and then ultimately the zip code to where this item gets shipped. Now, if I continue to the next one, so let's quickly put something here like test.example.com and then skip the first name, last name, whatever, address, we'll just put 1000 East 6th, there you go, just my country. Yep, everything works here. And I go to continue shopping, you'll see that this is super quick. And because of autofill, you know, with the address being filled by Google, etc., you can see that everything is super quick. It literally took me 20 or less seconds, right? I continue here and I can see, okay, now I enter my card number and there you go. Hit the blue button, I'm ready to go. So details are nice to have in a checkout, but you need to keep them to minimum. And that's something that a lot of people understand, but not always get right. Having to create, going back here, see if I can go back here to information. A lot of people don't have the field where address auto-completes, or sometimes they break down the address field in multiple things that are super complicated to get compiled together, because they say first line, second line, and then it's like, oh, this cannot be blank, that cannot be blank, etc. So it's really important to have those fields not only autocomplete, but also to be the right amount and make sure that they work okay. After making sure that the details you request are in the right order. So here, the first thing you're asked is about your email, which is the most important thing, which can be then captured to be, you can be remarketed, etc., or thrown ads, etc. There's a lot of things here that happen once you share your email with someone. But then as you notice, the next thing that you get is you're asked your shipping address. What I would do is make sure that you have the shipping address, and then only after have people put their credit card details in. It's kind of like first step, email, second step, shipping address, third step, you can have obviously you need to have the credit card detail information. If you're not sure how to design a checkout, you probably want to hire a designer to make sure that the experience looks clean. This is very clean experience. If you take a look, there's no elements here that shouldn't be on here. You have this section here, it shows you exactly what you're gonna pay, it shows you exactly the item that you're purchasing, and it shows you exactly information that's in for you. It's super clean and it's super simple. There's a lot of like negative space here, empty space that could be used for something else. It could be like a customer support chat that could be pop and open up here. It could be testimonials. There's a lot of other stuff that can be placed here. I'll talk about that later in the video. So think about designing your checkout experience to be as clean as possible. Sometimes another good feature to have, and I'll jump into this one here. This one is Stripe's checkout experience. As you can see, it's the similar setup. You have a very clean explanation of what you're going to pay. Here I'm paying for powder, pure set specifically, $65, sales tax obviously, and the total is $69.23. And then I'm asking the same fashion, email, my shipping address, and then even better, the payment details are all in one page. That's the minimum viable checkout, the MVC, right? And I think it's amazing because it also provides you the ability to pay with different methods, which I think makes it for a very much smoother checkout when you have Apple Pay or Google Pay or something else. So I really like that. Let's go back to this checkout. Let's talk a little bit about the completion, the checkout bar. So a checkout bar is basically something that tells you the progress that you're doing, right? So you're like, hey, you're 20% into your checkout. Here it's identified by simply this, okay, you have your card, your information, your shipping, and your payment. This is kind of showing you where in the checkout process you're finding yourself. On the other hand, Stripe doesn't really have a checkout progress bar because everything is self-contained into this one view, right? Like you have your email, shipping address, payment details, and you pay and you're done. So sometimes you want to have a checkout progress bar. Other times you don't want it if you use a tool like Stripe or any other of the competitors that might have this similar experience. Not everyone lives in the United States, so like Stripe shows, as you change the country of where your IP belongs to or the country where you're trying to ship the product to, basically it will change the currency. So this is one of the big and most interesting about Stripe. It's going to automatically allow you to do that by identifying where the payment is coming from, whether that's based on IP or the address that the item is getting shipped to. That is basically a Stripe feature that you can use and leverage for your own store. Another cool thing here is you can switch between Google Pay and Apple Pay, and you see that the button that allows you for a very quick checkout will just change based on your needs. You can support probably both. Also, it shows exactly what the checkout looks like in mobile. So like I said at the start of this video, a lot of people, about 50% of online shopping happens on a phone. So having everything here, it's super cool. Like, it's all self-contained and very intuitive in mobile view. Versus here, it might not be responsive, but I think it is. Let's have a look. Putting responsive mode on. Oh, sorry. Here we go. And yep, it's responsive, it's self-contained, but it still has multiple steps. So these are the differences, right? I prefer, honestly, the Stripe model for checking out, but there are a lot of like valid designs, you know, and I just prefer the simplicity of Stripe's model because it's so much more quicker and to the point. So let's talk about something else here. So we've spoken about localizing the price, which is a very important feature if you sell across different states. We spoke about mobile responsiveness of your checkout. We spoke about what fields to ask and ask in which order, in which sequence. And we've also spoken about using autocomplete, etc., and the clean design experience. Other things that we should talk about is surprise costs. So a lot of times you see a price on a page and you're like, oh, is this the price that I'm going to purchase? Is this what I've added to my cart? That's what I'm gonna pay for. The reality is that the price that you've added to your cart is usually this one. And then you have what I call surprise charges, right? And usually that's sales tax. It will basically bump up your total due to another higher amount than what you initially thought. Although this is not a huge amount, and also there is no shipping information here entered, and therefore that means that, you know, maybe it will calculate that later. Okay, so here we go, test at example.com. Let's see, there you go, boom. And okay, so here it's not calculating automatically your sorry, I made a mistake here. User test, there you go. Let's try this address here. It's not including the shipment cost, right? But you want to basically make sure that when you create your checkout, you have to include that, and it should automatically refresh when shipping address information gets added to the to your checkout. However, sometimes some stores just say free shipping on everything, and then that's okay if you don't see it. Another good thing to remember is to have, like I said, multiple payment options. So here you have Google Pay or Apple Pay, depending on what you choose. Other good options are PayPal, Affirm, or maybe you have another payment, that's more specific to your country, like maybe some other kind of mobile payment. Those are a good practice to have, because not everybody wants to pay through Visa, MasterCard, American Express, etc., etc. So using the right amount of things on the checkout page, like I said, it's super important. Other things that are very nice that I like to see in a checkout when I go through a checkout, it's the ability to edit the cart, right? Like the things that you've purchased directly from the checkout. So for example, say I need 2 of these because I just asked my friend, hey, please buy me 1 too. Then it'd be nice to be able to like just press a plus here and I add the item here. Or maybe I bought like 15 things, right? And I just want to like remove this one. I want to have a minus. That's a nice feature to have. Promotional code, it's super cool. So a lot of companies that do checkout allow you to add promotional codes so people can make the most. So here, what's it called? Stripe is telling me, hey, you can add this one. It's a good example. I can apply it, and suddenly I'll see that the promo code is added. It's very clear that from the design perspective how much my new total is, and that just makes me happy. I've added a promo. Not everybody allows you to add a promo. Going back to the other example here, if I come out of like mobile mode, I can see that doesn't look like there's any way to add a promotional code. Maybe it happens during the payment. Let's have a look. Credit card. No, there's no promo code. So already you can see how Stripe checkout is the superior experience here from these two that I've seen. Okay, another good thing is the speed at which the checkout loads. If your checkout is very slow, then might expect some churn. People might not like to wait for your checkout page to load. So keep in mind there are some technical things that you can do. For example, you can like preload all the images on a different domain. There's a lot of stuff there with like caching and CDN that you can do, and also that's just going to improve the checkout experience for someone. I also like trust factors. Something just like this one, powered by Stripe. Everybody knows what Stripe or who Stripe is rather. So I like to know that my payment is powered and processed by Stripe rather than some unknown third party. So I know that my credit card payment information, whatever I'm using, is safe with them. I also like to see sometimes live chat widgets that pop out and say, hey, if anything goes wrong with your order, we'll be here. So for example, you might have some last second questions about your order. So those like famous, live widgets that pop out, that might be not automatically popping out, but like are there, that adds reassurance to that the company that I'm, giving my money to wants to ensure that I'm having a great experience. So I think the last one I want to look at is the embedded Gumroad model here. The experience here, it's very similar. This is a website that I've been looking at in the past. It's a very cool widget that allows you to basically copy and edit CSS on a page if you're interested in CSS of certain elements of a website. But my point is not so much trying to get you to know about the product here. It's more about the checkout experience. So I press this button, I select my license. I'm like, okay, I want this. Because Gumroad, the way it works, it's like it embeds this whole amount of text, right? Like all this product description on the page. I'm not too happy. If I were behind this tool, I just kind of want to skip this and just be kind of here. If there was a way for me to jump from here to this screen here, that would be a much neater experience. Here again, very small amounts of information required because it's a digital product. Email address, card number. Again, you have the ability to pay with a secondary payment processor, and then you hit a button, you're paid, you get an email with the tool, this digital product, and there you go, job done. You could say that there are some things like live chat missing, but you can see the trust factor is here. So basically, no matter what checkout processor or checkout widget you decide to purchase or to use for your product, you need to consider the things that we went through in this video. I hope it was clear enough. There was quite a few things to keep in mind. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next video. I hope you find this one interesting. And if you liked it and if you learned something new, please hit that subscribe button because it really helps me increase my reach on YouTube. And who knows, maybe one day I'll launch a product of myself for myself and use one of these checkouts. So yeah, thank you for watching.